Vietnamese culture has been deeply influenced by three religious philosophies: Taoism, Confucianism, and most importantly, Buddhism, which was introduced during Chinese occupation in the 2nd century BC. Though Buddhism is no longer the official state religion, it has left an fixed imprint on the Vietnamese. Buddhism's central tenet is that in order to be free from suffering, man must relinquish desire, his cravings, and conduct himself according to the Eightfold Path. A majority of Vietnamese people refer to themselves as Buddhists, but not all of them actively participate in the rituals. As for Confucianism, it was introduced to Vietnam during the Chinese domination in the 1st century. Another religion which has a deep imprint on the way of life of the Vietnamese is Taoism. Taoism was introduced into Vietnam during the Chinese domination period. By the time Vietnam recovered its independence, it had become one of the main religious faiths of the Vietnamese people. An important feature of the religious attitude is great tolerance. Speaking of that, there has never been a religious fanaticism or warfare in Vietnam. The religious makeup of Vietnam consists of Buddhists at 9.3%, Catholics at 6.7%, Protestants at 0.5%, Muslims at 0.1%, and 80.8% don't associate themselves with any religion. This was taken from a 1999 census. Vietnamese cuisine traditionally features a combination of 5 fundamental taste elements in the overall meal: spicy, sour, bitter, salty, and sweet. Common ingredients include fish sauce, shrimp paste, soy sauce, rice, fresh herbs, fruits, and vegetables. Vietnamese recipes use lemongrass, ginger, mint, Vietnamese mint, long coriander, Saigon cinnamon, bird's eye chili, lime, and basil leaves. Traditional Vietnamese cooking is known for its fresh ingredients, minimal use of oil, and reliance on herbs and vegetables, and is considered one of the healthiest cuisines worldwide. Common sports in Vietnam are martial arts and soccer, along with badminton, tennis, volleyball, ping pong, and chess. Vietnam has participated in the Summer Olympics since 1952. As for fashion, from the 20th century, the Vietnamese have worn clothing that is popular internationally. The áo dài was banned after the fall Saigon, but has made a reoccurrence. The áo dài is worn in the white by girls in the high school, secretaries, and receptionists. The formal national dress is the áo dài for women, and the or suits for men. The style differs in northern and southern Vietnam, though. Marriage is the passage into adulthood. According to the Vietnamese law, arranged marriage and polygamy is illegal. Young people can court freely, just like in the U.S., but many women are careful not to court too openly because of the fear for developing a negative reputation. The Vietnamese regard the development of romantic love as an important component to deciding who to marry. But many will also balance family considerations when making this decision. Vietnamese prefer to marry someone of equal status, though it is better for the husband to be of slightly higher status. Such considerations have become more significant in recent years as wealth differentials have grown. Vietnamese laws also, both men and women are allowed to ask for divorce. Divorce rates have increased, partially in urban areas, but many women are reluctant to ask for divorce because of difficulties remarrying. The languages that are dominant in Vietnam are Vietnamese as the official language, English as an increasing second language, some French and Chinese, and Khmer Mountain Area language, Mon Khmer, and Maole Polynesian.
Family is valued to the Vietnamese. The Vietnamese family culture is based on 4 fundamental principles or values: allegiance to the family, development of a good name, the love of learning, and respect for others. The first fundamental principle of allegiance to the family is seen as the most important because family is the center of the individual's existence and the foundation of Vietnamese society. Although developing a good name is also an important value because the misbehavior of an individual reflects on all of the family members. Likewise, the success of an individual will honor and pride to the family members. As for the gender roles of the Vietnamese, women are traditionally subservient to the men and are taught that they have to obey 3 men in their life. Firstly, their father. Secondly, their husband. And finally, the oldest son of the family. The women are still hold significant role in the family and are well respected. She is the Minister of Interior of the family. Traditionally, Vietnamese women are considered the most graceful and beautiful women in the world because of their gentleness and deferring to men. The women control their husbands, the home, the economic power of the community, which is rare, and on the other hand, Vietnamese are also independent. Vietnam has a history of constant war, so the women have become accustomed to being alone and perhaps taking over the family business and household while the men are at war. Parents make raising children the most important responsibility. Family is the main socializing agent for children, and at a young age, children are taught to follow the doctrine of filial piety, which talking back or disobeying parents is unacceptable breach of this doctrine. When a child reaches the age of 5 or 6 years old, his strict upbringing begins. Independence is discouraging and his parents demand obedience. When the child grows up, the responsibility of care is reversed. That child must care for his elders. The oldest child, boy or girl, is responsible for the younger siblings if the parents become ill or die. Extended family is also important. In Vietnam, it is extended family of 3 or 4 generations: grandparents, the senior couple, married sons with wives and children, and unmarried children. Both sons and daughters leave the household when they get married. The family consists of not only the living, but the spirits of the dead as well as those who have not yet been born. Anything a man does, he does for his family rather than himself. The man is considered the manager of the family. He supplies the food and clothes, plans for the economic system, runs farming, business, handicraft, and public relations with the world outside his family. The head of the family is the speaker of everything concerning his family. The head of the family gives instructions to his wife about farm projects, business plans, and policy concerning public relations. In this traditional patriarchal society, great respect is given to men, especially the elders.
The ethnic groups in Vietnam, ranging from the highest percent to the lowest, consist of Viet with 85.7%, Tay, Thai, Mung, Khmer, Hmong, Nung, and others, according to the 1999 census. As of July 2012, the population in Vietnam is estimated at 91 million. Major cities include Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, which is the capital, Hap Hong, and Da Nang. The life expectancy at birth is 69 years for males and 75 years for females. In Vietnam, the national and official language is Vietnamese.
Describe to me what your New Year's like, that holiday again, real quick for me.
Yep. So the holiday is happen in the lunar calendar, and it starts in around
January and early February.
January and early of February, and the holiday is the durations of the holiday is around 10 days. So everyone have 10 days off. to prepare for their family, to prepare for the house. And it's also the time for meeting the relative and meeting with the family and the friends. It's also the time to give best wish for your relative and talking about the plan for the New Year's and what will you do in the next few years.
All right, the next question is, I'm going to ask both of you where you're from, specifically in Vietnam, whether it's a city or a more countryside area, and describe to me kind of like where you're from.
Yeah, so I'm from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. So it's quite a big city, but it's very crowded, and especially in the rush hour. The problem is they have a lot of traffic, so it's very crowded and stuck over traffic. So the problem is we have even we have a big city, but it's too small with too much people.
Overcrowded.
Yeah, overcrowded. So maybe it's very traditional. It's combined between traditional and modern city.
Okay.
Yeah, so we also have to combine. It's very good. In central is maybe a little bit traditional, but we are now expand the city, become bigger and with more modern building. So now it's maybe I call it a developing city.
Okay.
I'm also living in a city, and it's Haiphong City, a seaside city, and it's just like around 100 kilometers from Hanoi.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite a big city, and but it doesn't have a long history like Hanoi. Haiphong just appeared around 60 or 70 years ago, and its main activity is harbor, like for ships and boat.
Oh, okay, boat, like a port.
Harbor. How to say it? H-A-R.
Harbor. Harbor.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
harbor.
Gotcha. Yep. So it's like a port,
Yeah,
or
the
where
biggest
boats come in
harbor
and go. Okay.
So we also have big city, and around big city is maybe farm or something like that. The same, maybe quite similar with US. But actually we divide into three parts. We have south part, middle part, and the north part. So the capital, now I live in the capital is in the north part. So I will describe about the north part. Is capital is middle of the north part, and beside the north part is a lot of farmer and maybe a lot of agricultural lands.
Gotcha.
Yep. And outside is mountain. We also have a lot of mountain in the north.
Okay, lots of mountains.
But city in Vietnam is our own very crowded, like the capital city. They have more than 7 million people, and the biggest city in Vietnam is Ho Chi Minh City, and I think it's more than 10 million people. It's 12 times of Columbus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot there. I know here in Ohio, I don't know how you guys like this weather, but our weather is kind of crazy because I don't know if you've been here for when it's like super hot, but it can get really hot, and then it can be down in like below zero during the winter and snow. And so how is the weather like in Vietnam? Is it comparable? Or?
Shortly in Vietnam we don't have snow.
No snow.
Yeah, so it's quite hot. Not quite, but it's very hot in summer, especially in just some day of the summer. Maybe the temperature can increase to 40 or 43 or sometimes 45 Celsius degree.
Not that hot.
So, but we also have 4 seasons. It's not like Ohio. We have spring is maybe from around 20 Celsius. And winter is quite cold, but not that cold in Ohio. It's just around 10 degrees Celsius. I don't know how to transfer to
Yeah,
so
I
but in the summer is hot, but it's not for too long time, maybe just 1 month or 2 months. Yeah.
okay.
Actually, we have a very important test after we finish the high school. This is a test to entry the
University entrance exam.
Yep.
Mm.
So when we study in high school, it's very tough and it's especially difficult for 20 grade, not 20, 12 grade.
12th grade.
Yeah, we have 12 grade, and the final grade is 12, and this that's the time we have to study really hard. And almost the knowledge we study is to prepare for the test is just in the grade 12, so we have a kind of very busy years. And after that time, if we can pass the test, it's not easy, but if we can pass it when we study in college in Vietnam, it's quite easy. So the most difficult to get in the university is take the test, and if you take the test and you finish, everything will be okay.
What if you don't pass the test? What would you do?
So you have another chance to take the test next year. So you have to study one more year.
Study really hard.
What are the teacher-student relationships like?
Actually, we don't have that. So in one class in high school, we usually have 40 or 45 to 50 students.
Oh, wow.
So the relationship between the teacher and the student is maybe not same with the US, because we have too much students, so they don't have enough care for everyone.
I think it depends. As for me, I think the relationship between me and my teachers are very well, and yeah, my class have around more than 30 people, and all get along well with teachers. They care very much about us.
In the family, what would be the role of, let's say, the mother and the father and the children? Where does everyone's role fit in the part of being a family?
Yeah, actually, it depends on the family, but with my situation is my father is the man who control the financial, and he did a good job in his work. My mother also have a job, but she take more care about the children, and her response is to take care of the family, like cooking or washing clothes, laundry, and then just
What about?
I think like in the past, Vietnamese tradition is that we have a proverb that father make house and mother make it home. It's like father is responsible for making money and going to work, but mother should be the one that stay at home and take children and do every housework. But in modern times, men and women are going to be more equal. So yeah, more women going to work now.
What would be a common occupation or job for someone living in Vietnam? What would be a common job?
And are any more common among men or women than the other?
farmer.
Yeah, that's still a lot of time.
Actually, now we are agricultural country. We still agriculture, so maybe farmer maybe occupy a major part of the workforce. Actually, my dream job, or many people they love to have a job. I mean, office job, so they can have more time with the family, and then they can not alone. They can also earn a lot of money. So, especially like a banking officer or maybe some other thing like that. It's the same with both men and women.
Yeah. The question is, what would you say is the biggest difference between living in Vietnam and now coming over to America?
Actually, when I came here first time, I feel quite surprised about the lifestyle. Actually, in America, the people they live quite freedom, and even freedom they also have they quite friendly and with other people, and even the international student or foreign student, foreign people. We also in Vietnam we also friendly, very friendly, but we don't live just freedom as in America. The life they have more. The life is, how to say, is quite complex to describe. But in America, I think that when you go and across some people, they will smile with you, but it's not happening in my country. And maybe you help somebody to open the door and keep the door is maybe it's seldom in my country. And one more thing is the food. Actually, in America, I was so surprised you have too much fast food. We don't have that much, and we also love coffee, but we drink coffee in a cafe, and we don't use fast food coffee like takeaway coffee. We take time, maybe around 1 hour to enjoy the coffee. Don't like here you take a cup and then get out.
Do you have anything to say?
Yeah. For me, Americans are more casual. One of the difference I saw in the US is that there's not many many generations in one family. Extended family, like almost many Americans after they graduate from college or they go to job, they tend to live far away from their family. But in Vietnam there are many extended family, and there's even like 4 generations in one family.
Wow.
Yeah. And
learning about Vietnam was a new experience for all of us. Some of the interesting points we found were about the attire that the women wear at weddings, as well as their respecting of the eldest sibling, their father, and their husband. The most surprising part was probably all the generations that live in one house and how they were so surprised that Americans move out, usually right after college. As far as how our perception or opinions changed as a result of this experience is that we're all just a little more accepting of other cultures, that while they may have different traditions, they're really just people like us, and they're a lot more like us than we realize. Some implications for better understanding, appreciating, relating to, and working with members of cultural groups in the future would just be to understand how open they are and willing they are to talk to you. They may not initiate the conversation, but once you start talking to them, they're happy to communicate and interact with you. And like I said, they're just people like the rest of us, and they're happy to meet you.